Episode 5 of the School Transformation Podcast.
Let's make today the day that will transform your work, your health, and your life. You'll learn how at the School of Transformation. Welcome to the School of Transformation, where each week you'll gain insights from top performers and experts that will offer you their advice and strategies that can help you reach higher levels of performance. And now, your host, Bob Choat.
Welcome to Episode 5 of the School Transformation Podcast. And today, I'm so pleased to have my next guest because here in the San Fernando Valley, going back in like 27 years, since this guy, as we know, the Little League and a Babe Ruth World Series is a huge deal. And this guy, my next guest, for the 13 and 15-year-olds in the 1990 Babe Ruth World Series, this guy won the batting champion. I mean, even though his team didn't win, he was elected as a member of that All-World Series team, because he had that high batting average. And I believe it was a 667, correct?
That is correct, yes, 667.
And by the way, that's my guest. His name is Cesar Martinez. And Cesar, he's not only is he owner of his own gym called the Ultimate Athlete Gym, he's been in the fitness industry for over 10 years. He holds an MMA strength and conditioning certification, as well as a personal trainer certification. He's a force trainer. He's certified as a force trainer through the LA Sheriff's Department. And I believe he has, 17 years experience with the LA County Sheriffs, Cesar?
Correct. 17 years law enforcement with the Sheriff's Department.
Okay. And by the way, his wife is also in law enforcement. She's a detective, and she's been doing it a while as well. He has other certifications, including with TRX. More recently, he's a co-author in a Little Black Book of Fitness, which should be coming out very soon. So look for that book on Amazon.com when it does come out. He's a father of 2 beautiful girls, and I know that he's really proud of that, of both his girls. He's a coach for a local marathon team, and he's trained baseball and softball. He has MMA clients. He works with adults and teenagers. And Cesar's going to tell me a lot more because I know that he has an amazing background. Cesar, welcome to today's episode.
Thank you very much. Grateful, a great introduction. I know it's hard for me to hear that actually, and to look back at some of the things that I have done and to talk about yourself or just mention them. Yeah, I'm very proud, obviously. Thank you very much for allowing me, first of all, this opportunity to be on your podcast. Thank you. We share some of the same background in law enforcement. I know I'm talking to a friend, a buddy.
Yes.
It feels like that on the other line. It's amazing with some of the experiences that you went through and we went through. We can relate. And thank you for having me. I'm just blessed to continue to progress and grow. I'm blessed to have 2 beautiful daughters that make me happy every day and the way they carry themselves.
Oh,
yeah, it's amazing you brought that up with the 667 batting average. It seems like yesterday, but it was a while ago now. It was a while ago.
Well, time does fly by, yet those experiences help to mold us in our life. Yeah, I was doing my research on you, and I came across that there was an article we had discussed earlier how your mom would collect a lot of the articles. And so I came across this, and it's really amazing to have you here to be able to talk about that, yet talk about everything else. But before we get started in talking more about you and your greatest transformation, is there a particular quote that has inspired you in your life?
Wow. You know that when you ask me that, it seems like there's always quotes that you can look back at any time in your life, and it kind of matches what you're going through at that time. You can go through a certain scenario when I was younger or certain things that transform me at certain times. The one that always kind of sticks in my mind is a recent quote that I just learned, actually. I look back and I can say I could have used that then, and I can use that now, and I can use that later. And it's by Amelia Boone, who's an obstacle racer, an endurance athlete. She's a female, just amazing individual. I started reading about her. And the quote goes, "I'm not the strongest. I'm not the fastest. but I'm really good at suffering. It just really tells me that you don't need to be the strongest, the fastest, the smartest person in the room or that person, but you just really need to grind. You need to work hard at times. You need to find that willpower within you at any moment for whatever it might be. And it doesn't have to be physical, but you have to know how to get the answer. And you have to be able to sacrifice. That's what it I take out of it. And like she said, she's an obstacle racer and there's a lot faster, stronger people than her, but she just stays consistent and gives it time and she ends up on top a lot of times. So I love that quote.
Yeah, and that goes back to the old story of the tortoise and the hare, where the tortoise is the one that grinds it out.
Absolutely.
And through that persistent grinding, and the hare is like running and doing all kinds of things and thinking it's going to win. And so it'll sprint, it'll poop out and everything. And the tortoise just keeps grinding and grinding and grinding all the way to the end.
That is so true. And I'll give you a perfect example. I had a client, this is a couple of years back, that I was training, and I started off doing group training classes. This female came to me and says, I just want to be in better shape. I love working out. And I said, okay. And she was consistently coming every day, doing what needed to be done in the workouts and her health and fitness. There was individuals, males and females that came. I have workouts that are timed. So some of them are timed. They're as fast as you can do it, almost like CrossFit. They're cross-training classes that I make up. She would beat some of the men that would just try to run too fast or do the exercise, and they would gas out. And she stayed consistent with her workouts. And by the end of the workout, she was always the one beating everybody. And it was amazing. I told them, you just have to learn how to pace yourself. What's your best? So it was amazing. It's a good story I tell to my clients all the time.
Perfect. I can see you as the grind or the grinded out coach.
Yeah, I do have a different mentality, and it's not really a physical thing. I tell people it's not that when I tell you, hey, push through it, it's not because I want you to be suffering physically from it, but I want you to learn how to not stop and quit when it's time to finish stronger than you started.
Yes.
It's more of a mental transformation for them, because at the beginning, they believe that they're unable to finish or accomplish, or that it's too hard. But then at the end, they finish and accomplish it. They start changing the way they think, which is mostly important for me. So Dr. Angela Duckworth,
there was a TED Talk years ago where she talked about success, what it really means, what it really takes. And she called it grit. She ended up writing a book about it. She's done studies. She's looked at it. And the reason people truly succeed, if you look at every single person out there that's been truly successful, not what was given to them, because that's not success. What she discovered was that the people who had grit and grind, and they were able to overcome those kind of obstacles. In a sense, that quote fits perfectly from what she studied.
Wow. Yeah, that is. Oh my God, that's amazing. I've been searching for a long time now, this whole success, find different people that have quotes on success and what it means or how, but I never really knew exactly the how, what is it that makes you kind of successful. There's always success equals progression, success equals this, and John Wooden and different people, but the grit, that's amazing. That is so honestly true. It's the grind. That's awesome.
Yeah. If you have that focus, if you have a mission and you're focused on that and you're focused on your end goal, that process, you're going to hit obstacles as you're moving towards it. And those people that have been able to overcome those obstacles, they have that.
Absolutely.
They are able to grind it out. They got the grit and they go after it. That seems to be what
I love that.
That seems to be what you've helped people to be able to do. In your own story, as we did our pre-talk, in your own story, you mentioned on some of what you had to grind it out. I'm not sure if that's your greatest transformation, because I'm going to ask you what that is coming up. Yet I know that throughout your years and a lot of things you've done, you had to face that. You had to face that mindset. Not the physical. We can overcome even physical obstacles. It's a mindset that was really important. So,
absolutely.
So, Cesar, what is your greatest transformation?
Well, that's a great question. And like you said earlier, that there's so many, because in life, you go through different catastrophes, adversities, failures that you learn from, and they change you or shape you in a transformation way. You know, when I was younger, and like you mentioned earlier, playing Babe Ruth, and I traveled playing baseball, and I won the batting championship for the Babe Ruth World Series. I had a tremendous amount of fun playing baseball, and it was blessed. It blessed me with paying for my education. I was also in the Pony League World Series, which the Pony League World Series for the Encino Pony League we ended up winning the United States Championships. We lost to Korea, but we won the United States Championship, and that was amazing as well. I grew up playing baseball. I was really, really good. I was so good that I was always on the all-star teams, and I would get called in from shortstop to pitch to close the game if we needed it. And if we needed a first baseman, I would go there. But I mainly played middle infield, and I was on these amazing teams. And I was blessed to meet a family that took me in, or a family that helped me with financial assistance to go to a private school at Notre Dame Sherman Oaks, which was amazing. Throughout this time, I was really good in baseball, and I was blessed to be really good and just take it almost for granted. Working hard, still just take my ability for granted. It wasn't until my greatest transformation occurred when I went to junior college at L.A. Pierce College, and my brother had gone there and he had received a full scholarship to Pepperdine, and he was an amazing baseball player as well in high school at North Hollywood, and went to Pierce and did very well. And he ended up getting drafted by the San Diego Padres in the 24th round. And I ended up going to Pierce thinking I'm going to take over my brother's footsteps and continue the tradition. And when I got there, I realized that I was smaller than some of the players because I never really outgrew or grew anymore. And so the coach asked me what position I could play. And I had been recruited to go there, and I played outfield. So I said, well, I play left field. So he put me out in left field, and he called me in and he says, you're not a left fielder. You don't have the arm strength. So he put me at third, and he tried me at third, and he goes, no, you're not big enough and you're not a power hitter. He goes, I think your position is going to be second base. That's where you're going to fit in at this level. I'd never played second base. I'd played short, center, left, pitch, caught, third base, but never second base. And I was like, what am I going to do? Okay. He's like, we're going to put you at second base. He put me there to play during the fall season, and he would evaluate you and tell you how good you are, what he's going to see. During the first evaluation in fall, he brings me in, he has an individual meeting with me, and he says, you know what, kid, I am so sorry, but I don't see you playing for this team. You're not a second baseman. You haven't played there long enough. You don't know the position. You have two options. He said you could redshirt, which means you would take a year off and just be on the team and not waste a year, but you would sit on the bench and your year wouldn't count. Or you can go and transfer to another college. I'm giving you the time to transfer and you can go play somewhere else. I'm sure they have a position for you somewhere. And that broke my heart. That right there was a disappointment to myself. I felt that I was disappointing my brother, my family, my dad. I had been so good. I mean, I was on these championship teams. I was batting champion, gold glove winner. And it was amazing, all the accolades that I had coming out in the newspaper. To go home and tell my parents that I'm going to redshirt and not play and not start was a big deal for me at that time. So I ended up, actually, to be truly honest, I went home in my VW Bug that I had at that time and I cried. I cried all the way. And I sat in my room and I thought, what do I need to do? What should I do? He gave me these two options. And I said, well, you know what? There's one more option. And the other option is to actually go back there, work as hard as I can, be the first one on the field, be the last one off the field, get the help and the tool that I need in order to become a better second baseman, see what happens during our second meeting, which would be towards the later end of the fall. And if I'm not good enough then, if I am not good enough, then let the better second baseman play. But I am not walking away from this challenge. This is not only a challenge to play second base, this was a challenge towards myself to actually show myself that if I put myself to something, that if I work hard enough, that I can change from being a mediocre second baseman to being a better second baseman, to just being a better person. That right there was my greatest transformation, because I ended up getting the assistance of a second baseman, a friend of mine, who came for a weekend and showed me some tools and things that I needed to do to turn a double play. I was the first one. I ended up creating, how can I say this? I ended up doing the little things that counted in the game of baseball, which I never thought of before because I took it for granted. So I would study pitchers. I would take bigger leads. I became faster. I would get rid of the ball quicker because I didn't have the arm strength. I did different things than other players that have talent would do in order to be better than them, in order to be as good or better than them.
And you developed the right mindset.
Correct. That's exactly where it was at.
Yes. Later, did you stay at Pierce? Did you go to another college and play?
Yeah. So after Pierce, I ended up actually breaking the junior college California records for stolen bases. Oh, which is amazing because yes, and it still holds till this day. So it's amazing because my brother got drafted by the Padres for his speed, and I broke his record and everybody else's record And it wasn't about speed, but like you said, it was a mental breakthrough that changed who I was. But I received a full scholarship to Cal State University of Northridge, and I played second base there for 2 years with the shortstop was Adam Kennedy, who played with the Angels and some other, he was my shortstop, and I played there with a bunch of other great athletes and friends. That was an amazing team, the 96 team. And we were one game short of going to the College World Series, had only 10 losses and ranked third in the nation.
And I know there's a story within there because I had read that CSUN becomes Caesar's Palace.
You know what? It was actually, that was actually at Pierce that happened.
Oh,
Pierce
really?
College.
Okay.
Yeah. And the reason was the article was written I believe, by Eric Sonheimer, which is a local newspaper writer. But I believe either the LA Times or the Daily News back then. Social media has changed so much now. Who knows? That was that doubt. That was that transformation where even the coach doubted me because I became such a transformation of a baseball player, second baseman, hitting, fielding, everything, that the coach actually said that. And he goes, this has become Caesar's Palace. It was a big transformation, but it was mostly big transformation, like you said, mental.
I think most transformations are that way. Going through your story that you were able to, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do what it takes to be successful. And I wasn't at first, yet I went out there and I did it and I did it and I did it. So that's a big lesson that could be applied into a lot of areas of life. Have you been able to take that kind of mental attitude, that mindset, and use it in other areas of your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people, and when that happened, like the coach had given me two choices. In reality, it was only one choice to me, and that's to take on the challenge to myself. And I always tell people, challenge yourself. You never know what you can and cannot do until you challenge yourself. And there's going to be choices, and there's going to be adversities and struggles and failures. You learn from them. As you learn, you get better. We all know there's more than one transformation in life.
Yes.
That incident, because I was younger, and that was that first big baseball catastrophe, I would say, in my life, taught me more till this day to accept challenges. Because I could have easily said, well, I'll redshirt or I'll transfer. But I said, no, well, it's not over yet. I said, I still have time to change. And I need to challenge myself. I never have. People start off in my gym and they start off and like, oh man, this is too hard. Challenge yourself. Wait to see what happens during this journey so that when you're done, you look back and you go, oh my God, I never believed, but you did, because you stayed consistent with it and you challenged yourself and you transformed yourself. That's the beauty.
Absolutely. Why do you think that you went through that transformation?
Wow, that's a good question. Why?
Yeah, there's always underlying why.
Yeah, there is. I believe that obviously I was taking things for granted in my baseball ability that I had. I went through it to prove to myself more than anything that I need to challenge myself and I need to be better and I need to exactly put that grit on me. Oh, man, there's so many transformations, so many challenges. I feel that every failure, every adversity just tests you. I went through it to become a better person. You know, there's always challenges in our lives, everybody's lives. How you respond to them is most important. And how I responded, I'm very pleased and happy that I did do that I didn't take the easy way out. And that has been the difference actually in my life. Yeah, it's amazing.
You think earlier you mentioned you didn't want to disappoint other people. I know that you were disappointing yourself. Was it more of an external because you had been successful and you don't want to disappoint your brother, your parents, and others?
Absolutely. I think if you're looking at, the why initially it was we are driven by two things. It's either inspiration or desperation. And I felt desperate. I felt I was disappointing my family, the tradition, my brother. I felt lost. I felt ashamed because of that feeling, because of all those feelings. That right there was my why to then go, okay, well, am I going to let myself feel like this? Or what am I going to do about it? I can either take the easy way with the choices that the coach has given me, or there is another way. And I chose that hard instead of the flight syndrome. I chose to fight. But it was initially the external, I'm ashamed, I feel disappointed to them. And it wasn't as much internally until later it was.
Good. Because I think that's a big moment. I think a lot of us, or a lot of people, tend to go external with a lot of things. If they only focus on that, they'll never ever go to their heart, what's going to drive them, their reason why. And the why always comes from our inside. And it's a good thing that you discovered that, correct?
Yes, Correct. I mean, it was amazing. It takes a while. You have to get into that state of mind. You have to be by yourself. You have to talk to yourself, and you have to literally you literally find yourself.
Yes.
Without any distraction. That's why meditation, visualization, all these other aspects, yoga, and all these other things are so important. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that I was talking to myself in my room by myself. And then I started doing everything, like visualizing. What do I need to do? What are my options? And going through a process. I didn't know at that time what it was called or what was going on, but it was happening.
Based on your own experiences, and mentioned like you don't want to disappoint family and other people, because I know that you had two daughters. How does like what
Yes.
you went through help you as a father?
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yes, because, man, it just pushes you to instill that in your kids, obviously. It helps me because my kids are everything. And I want to instill good morals and values just like my dad and mom did. And my mom and dad raised me to be a great kid and person and to overcome adversities and whatnot. I want to pass that on, what was passed on to me. Even though I was going through that by myself, I felt like ashamed. I had a little bit of like my dad and my brothers expected certain things of me. And that was my own personal thing, that I felt that they did expect that from me, even though all they wanted was, and this is later on in retrospect, all they wanted for me to be was happy.
Yes.
I was putting that upon myself. I was putting that stress and that in me. That has helped me just to teach my daughters to not expect anything from them, but just to love them unconditionally, to teach them to be good people, and to understand that there's going to be adversities in their life, and to challenge their adversities, to understand their adversities, to be aware of them, to challenge them, and to overcome them.
Good. And I'm going to get to the how. And the how is through 3 tips, strategies, ideas that you can offer our listeners that's enabled you to overcome your challenge to have your greatest transformation. What would those 3 be?
Well, there's an acronym I use in this in regards to getting over any challenge. The acronym is ACT, A-C-T.
Okay.
The A would stand for awareness. At the beginning, you have to be aware. I mean, if you're not aware of what's going on, then we have a problem. Because how can you change things of something you're not aware of? My biggest thing is to be aware, to be brutally honest. If there's something wrong in your life, something you're unhappy of, some challenge in front of you, some adversity, some catastrophe, some failure, you have to be aware first. You have to have some kind of acknowledgement of that. The second tip would be, or the second acronym would be C for choice. Now you have a choice to make, and the choice is going to affect your life in the future. You have a choice. You have something that you have to make a decision of, something you're aware of, and you have a choice whether to change it or to stay the same. The last one would be T for time and consistency. We live in a society now that people want instant results. We have information at our fingertips on our phones all the time. We turn on and off the TV with a remote control now, and certain things. And there's infomercials on magic pills and waist trainers and losing weight, all these different things. In order to make true change and true lifestyle change, it takes time and consistency. That leads to act. That means you have to take action. First, you have to be aware. Then you need to make a choice. And at the end, you need to give it time and consistency in order for that change and transformation to occur.
And that's perfect. All 3, the awareness, the choice, and the time and consistency, because I know that you work in terms of training people, yet all other areas of life it applies to, whether you're running your own business, whether you're pushing through graduate school, whether you're a parent, or even have a goal of winning a marathon. It all pertains to using, number 1, awareness. You got to be aware that the whole self-awareness is really important. I like when you said be brutally honest, because a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are really lying to themselves, aren't they?
They really are. And I've done that before. I give you a perfect example. A couple of years ago, before I struggled with my weight, and at first I wasn't aware, and I wasn't brutally honest. I thought I'm in good shape, I'm okay, and I look at a picture now, and I'm like, no, I wasn't. I was not. I guess I wasn't aware of the condition I was in. But if I didn't know that then, right, I wasn't aware, how could I change it? I don't know anything. I believed I was. And if that was my belief, then I didn't have the awareness. So it's until you become aware of that, maybe it's a picture, maybe it's a situation, maybe it's an incident, maybe somebody tells you something. Who knows what the incident might be? You have to be truly honest with yourself. And then you have to be truly honest of why you're there.
Yes.
And when you're there, then you have that choice. What do I do with it now? What do I do with what I know now? Are the things that I'm aware? What am I going to do? Am I going to fight or am I going to fly? Am I going to move forward and progress, or I'm just going to accept it?
Yeah, very true. And every moment we're at choice. Every moment. So we can choose to do one thing or another thing, yet we're always at choice. We can even choose not to do something. You said it earlier. And then the third was time and consistency, which is very important. People just don't give themselves the time. They're looking for that quick fix. And I know that in the fitness industry, people are so focused on like losing weight, and they see the biggest loser and how fast those people are losing weight. They don't see what happens afterwards when those contestants, they don't have the trainers 24/7 there around the clock, and they don't have the chefs and nutrition experts and everything. They don't see what happens, the bounce back factor in terms of that. Time and consistency in every area of life. Be patient. Be really patient and be consistent. Do something each and every day. And I love the acronym ACT.
Yeah.
Yes, take action towards it. That fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I thank you very much.
Cesar, I really want to thank you for having been a guest. And I see great things happening with you. I see a lot of stuff coming out with the Little Black Book of Fitness that should be out soon. Before we go, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, I have a website, www.ultimateathletegym.com. I'm on Instagram as UAG Fit. I'm on Facebook for Ultimate Athlete Gym. I'm on Snapchat, UAG Fit 88. You can email me at ultimateathletegym@gmail.com. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get in everything. I'm not on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm not on Twitter, and they can always call me. I don't have a problem people calling me. To just learn from some other people as well is amazing. So I'm here to learn. I'm here to teach other people and continue to progress.
And I know that you train people in person. If any listener from maybe another part of the United States or another part of the world, if they wanted you to coach them, would you be able to do that via Skype?
Correct. Yes. So that's I'm heading in that direction more is to create my website where I'm able to have workouts. I have meal plans that I offer my clients here, but I'm trying to also put them up on my website. I have merchandise. So that's my other aspect of continuing to grow and progress, but I am able to do that. I will be new on that. I'm up for the challenge.
Yes. And to everybody listening, go to his site. Find out more about him. He's got more in terms of his own story and what he does. Cesar, with his background, will be able to challenge you to break through any plateau that you have. And again, Cesar, thank you. Thank you absolutely for being on my show, on the School Transformation. And we will be talking a lot more. I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot about you. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's amazing what you're doing for others, what you've done in your lifetime. I know your background. It's amazing. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm very blessed and honored to be on it. And I just can't wait and look forward to continuing to grow with you, with others, and invest. So thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you for listening to episode 5 of the School Transformation Podcast. Don't forget to go to theschooltransformation.com and grab the ultimate self-confidence cheat sheet. And again, thank you.
Thanks for listening to the School of Transformation podcast. You can find us at bobchoat.com and make sure to grab the ultimate 10-step self-confidence cheat sheet.